tent poles, you have to make 3 to 4 times the budget to even make it break even.
Streamers actually were buying big amounts, and that was actually fueling a lot of these projects to come up. But that's actually fallen over the last 2 years.
Every single transaction that comes through 100 countries and these mid-budget projects, right, between 5 and 50, 60-ish million, there's a sharp increase.
Almost 40% increase in deal count. The returns have been softening a little bit for these blockbuster, high budget projects. Instead of that one big tentpole project, maybe let me do 3 mid-sized projects. Or they are directly going into slate financing. Now, when you do slate financing, hey, you know what? The first thing that happens is mid-budget projects typically go up. Scale back that $100 million plus project to the $50-$55 million range. The project became viable. Why? Because it was now able to confirmed return the money that was being invested. It was greenlit in a jiffy. The movie was called Here, H-E-R-E, with Tom Hanks.
JP Morgan said, here you go, $500 million. Hits after hits, they're bringing really, really exciting mid-budget, some, even low-budget movies, and theatrically they've been massively successful, right? Get Out, less than 5 million.
Investments in all the other projects were returned by just this one project.
The money's there, right? Just look at both ends of it. This is what we were discussing a little while ago, right? You got tent poles, very high, $200 million plus, right? So that's one side of the ecosystem. And then the other side is micro budget, really, really tiny. The torso of all of this is the mid budget. And we are seeing an absolute increase, right? The way we are tracking this is we're seeing an increase in deal counts. So we're tracking every single transaction that comes through 100 countries, and these mid-budget projects, right? Between 5 and 50, 60-ish million, there's a sharp increase.
Almost a 40% increase in deal count, even though there was a squeeze in the middle, just because the rise of these micro budget, small budget projects. We did see that mid budget got squeezed, but in absolute terms, there are more projects happening in mid budget than ever before.
Yeah, look at the charts, right? So Atul, we are comparing here. So you got three bars: high budget, mid, and low. And then, we're comparing 2021, 2022, and 2025, just to see if things are going up or down.
Okay, so 21, 22, and 25.
Yeah.
And then we can actually see that, there's a 26% drop between 25 to the prior years. And then, but if you look at mid-budget, that's increased. But the increase in low budget movies and projects has been so large that there is a squeeze actually for mid-budget, even though in absolute terms, it's actually risen.
Right. And look through, like, what are the headwinds and tailwinds, Atul, in these mid-budget projects? I mean, everything is not rosy, as we know. There is some squeeze. Where are they getting pushed?
So I think there are multiple factors, right? I think one aspect, I think in a few countries and markets, right? And I'm counting, India, South Korea, right? As very clearly key markets. There are a few countries where streamers actually were buying big amounts, and that was actually fueling a lot of these projects to come up. But that's actually fallen over the last 2 years. And we are seeing an impact of that just in terms of that becoming a headwind, right? So a lot of folks who typically were hoping that this particular project that they were working on would typically be pinched by some large streamer are having to go back to the drawing board. So that's clearly a headwind. The second headwind, it was also the specialty divisions sort of closing down. Studio businesses are actually sort of consolidating, and we've seen that in multiple ways, including mergers and acquisitions, which are happening with studios. But even within a studio that's not having an M&A, they still are consolidating their multiple labels. And some of these specialty divisions are actually sort of, getting merged with some of the larger entities within that group.
Tentpole, that was a massive arms race, right? They're just trying to figure it out. Hey, where do we concentrate our capital? So there was a little bit of, push in that area. But look at where a lot of these, tailwinds that they are experiencing.
That's right. And I wanted to actually mention about the tentpole, right? We actually saw so many different CEOs, including for large studios, right? talk about high quality projects, like, right? Quality over quantity, saying we
Mm.
just don't want to keep producing lots of projects. We want to do some projects, but if you do some projects, then those budgets are actually sort of much larger, right? If you're a large studio. So yeah, I think those are all the headwinds. Let's look at the tailwinds. I think one key aspect is that the returns have been softening a little bit for these blockbuster high budget projects. And when that typically happens, right, and we know that the franchise part is getting overused by studios. And that kind of, when those returns are coming, down, they're saying, okay, you know what, maybe I should just do, instead of that one big tentpole projects, maybe let me do three mid-sized projects.
Yeah, yeah. And that helps. That helps mid-sized projects. PE. Last time also we talked about a lot of private equities coming in, and they're not just saying, hey, let me sort of help you with the project. I'm going to help you with an entire slate.
So private equity is guided by two factors, and they are kind of interrelated, right? Factor number one is returns. Factor number two is greed. So there is an interrelation right there. The interesting thing about private equity is that there is a increasing sort of feeling that, hey, there is a lot of opportunity in the media sector. And we have been seeing some of the private equity actually, either invest in production houses that now they are turning almost into like mini studios, or they are directly going into slate financing. Now, when you do slate financing, hey, you know what? The first thing that happens is mid-budget projects typically go up, because now you want greater throughput. You want more sort of green lighting happening. Private capital is for sure helping some of these mid-budget projects to come out to the finish line.